Hey, Wow Kids. This is Jill Hansen, and I'm here at my job at Elmquist Jewelers, and I'm going to make you a video today on the golden calf. So let's get started. All right, the golden calf. First, we're going to start off with a little talk about gold. And the gold that was used for the golden calf probably was 24 karat gold, which is pure gold, 99.9% pure gold. And it's the softest gold. It's the most, they call it malleable and pliable of all the metals. It can be easily beaten or hammered. Like I have a hammer here that I use to hit things, gold things. I don't hit other people. I hit gold. 1 ounce of gold can be pulled into a thin wire. I'll show you a wire here. This is some wire, and can be stretched over a mile. So that's a long ways, isn't it? A mile's pretty long. You have to run 4 times around the track. That's a mile. So that's just all out of 1 ounce of gold. And this is the type of gold we're going to talk about in this story. Typically in America here, we use 10 karat, 14 karat, and 18 karat gold. 14 karat gold is what we use a lot here in the store, and it's only 58.3% gold. And the rest of it's other metals mixed in to make it a little less soft. All right, so my question to you guys is, where did the Israelites get all this gold? Does anybody know? Well, this story is the continuation of the story that we've been hearing about the last 2 Sundays, and you've probably been hearing about the same story in Wow. So Moses has successfully led the Israelites and some Egyptians even out of Egypt and out of slavery after God sent many awful plagues on the people there in Egypt. So we remember all the plagues. We've got the river running red and the frogs and, you know, all the 9 really bad plagues. And then we had the 10th plague. If you remember what that one was very sad. It's the death of the firstborn son. So after that, the Egyptians were really ready for all the Israelites to get out of their town, out of their country. And so they were so eager to do that when the Israelites asked the Egyptians for gold or for some money, basically they gave them gold, silver, gems, and clothing, and they just gave it to them to get away from them so that nothing else bad would happen in their country. So gold in Egypt was mostly, it was plentiful. There was a lot of it, and the Egyptians were very skilled at working with gold, but it was primarily reserved for royalty, so for the pharaoh and all of his family. In jewelry and in clothing detail, all the things used by pharaoh, such as his scepter, which is the staff thing that he would carry, and the throne that he sat in, his cups that he drank out of, I mean, they were all solid gold. But this is some of the jewelry that you might have seen at that time. So obviously they had some skills and they knew how to use their gold. Pharaoh, speaking of Pharaoh though, in fact, one of the most famous pharaohs that we know about in our time is Pharaoh Tutankhamun. And his, probably about 1922, we found a tomb in Egypt that had his sarcophagus or his coffin in it. And this coffin is solid gold, and it weighs over 2,448 pounds. And that converts pounds to ounces. It converts to 40,000 ounces of gold. And at today's gold price of $1,268 an ounce, the coffin of this pharaoh would be worth over $50 million in just the gold alone. That's quite a bit of money. Okay, so why did the Israelites make this golden calf in the first place? Moses went up to Mount Sinai to pray. Here's Moses and his brother Aaron. And he went up to Mount Sinai to pray to God for about 40 days. While he was gone, he left his brother Aaron in charge. Okay, Aaron and another man named Hur. Less than about halfway through the 40 days, some of the people started doubting that Moses was going to come back to lead them. And the other guy, Hur, tried to talk the people down. And he tried to say, hey guys, just, really, it's going to happen. Moses is going to come back. He really will. Promise. He really will. Well, they didn't believe him. So they ended up killing her. So Aaron, on the other hand, was a little worried. He saw this happen and he thought, oh, I don't want to end up dead, but I have to stop these people. So I have to do something to kind of make them happy until Moses comes back. So Aaron knows these people very well, and he asks the people to bring back gold to him so he could make an idol for them to worship. So Aaron, well, this is Moses on Mount Sinai. He's getting his he brings down some tablets from God, but he's also up there praying and talking to God. Okay, so Aaron asks for the gold to come back so he can make them an idol to worship. An idol in those days was typically a beast or a calf of some kind. The people did not worship the calf, but rather it was the pagan god that the calf was kind of representing. We only have one true God as Christians, but the Egyptians had many gods at that time, and this is where that idea came from. So when Moses brought God's people out of Egypt, this is a piece of gold foil, and I kind of have it out of order here, but this is what when Aaron, the people brought Aaron the gold, he kind of melted it down and then made it into a big sheet of gold. And I'll show you what he does with that, but he actually makes a golden calf. Okay, so when Moses brought God's people out of Egypt, it was a group of about 3 million people. And 3 million people out of the state of Minnesota, that's about the size of the Twin Cities area here. All of those, the counties that are in Minnesota right there, that represents about 3 million people. So all the people that live in the cities, basically. This is kind of just to give you an idea. That's a lot of people. And only about 3,000 out of those 3 million were involved in wanting to create a golden calf to worship to. So the town of Olivia has less than 2,500 people in. So it'd be just a little more than the town of Olivia. Those are the only amount of those 3 million that really wanted to worship this golden calf. So the people all brought their 24 karat gold to Aaron, and he made an idol of a calf. Probably out of wood or clay first. And then he took all of the gold and probably heated it up a little bit and pounded it out into thin sheets of gold. Just like this. It's like tin foil. Think of tin foil, probably even thinner. And that's what he used to fashion around the wood or the clay that made the calf. So here's a depiction of Aaron kind of working on this golden calf. And he obviously was skilled in working in gold because he had worked alongside the Egyptians. They had taught him. This made the people happy, but Aaron still had to stall for a little time because Moses was coming back the very next day, and he didn't want Moses to be too upset, but he knew he was going to be. So he said, I will build an altar for you guys to worship if you just hold on one more day. So he kind of tries to stall them. Here's a depiction of a calf on an altar that he made. The very next day, Moses came back and found the people worshiping the golden calf, and he was not happy. Thinking about it, I'm estimating that Aaron's golden calf project probably only used about 3 ounces of gold, hammered as thin as it possibly could be, just like that gold foil I just showed you. And in today's price of gold, it would cost about $3,800. We'll say $3,800 to $5,000 total, his total project. So obviously not a whole lot of gold. So it really doesn't sound, I know that doesn't sound like a lot of money, especially after we talked about King Tutankhamun's coffin that was $50 million, but it was still a lot of money. And unfortunately, when Moses came back, the 3,000 people that couldn't hold on and wait for him to come back, they ended up dying. So it didn't sound like a lot of money, but it lost them their lives. So I just want to show you one more thing. It's a neat painting here by a painter called Nicolas Poussin. And he lived way, way, way a long time ago, but 1633 to 34 is when he created this painting. And it's called the Adoration of the Golden Calf. And you see the golden calf up on the altar, and you see the people frolicking around and being kind of all crazy. This is, obviously the artist's idea of what probably happened back then, but it kind of gives us an idea of what it might have looked like. No wonder God wasn't so happy with these people. Okay, I think it's going in. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to show you guys a little bit of how to melt gold. I have 4 rings in here, and I've weighed them, and they weigh about an ounce. It's about an ounce of gold right here. So I've got my torch, I've got my safety glasses, I've got some water here, and we're going to see what happens. It's starting to come together. A little more liquid. All right, there we go. Now, all right, I took it and I took 4 rings and I heated it up and I put it in some water, and now just kind of a blob of gold, but they went from solid to liquid back to solid again. It's pretty cool. All right, you guys, thanks for letting me teach you a little something about gold and the Bible, and we'll see you around church. Have a fun rest of WOW.